We're going to continue where we left off in the laws of Chanukah, and we're not going to do a recap of last shiur. You can watch it online. But last shiur we talked about the time that we have to light it and the order how we have to light it and anything that had to do with that. Today we're going to talk about the laws, what happens when Shabbat comes on Motzei Shabbat, and what do we do when Chanukah is on Friday night, which will be the last candle of Chanukah, which is going to be Shabbat. So how we work in this class is where we read out of the book in Hebrew and then we translate and explain. So the first halacha is Be'erev Shabbat madlikim ner Chanukah. In the eve of Shabbat, on Friday, we light a candle for Chanukah. V'achar kach madlikim ner Shabbat mevarchim aleim. And after that, you light the candles of Shabbat. So next Friday, you first do Chanukah, you light the candles of Chanukah, and then you light the candles of Shabbat. אף שמדליקים מבעוד יום ובלבד שיהיה אחר פלג המנחה. Up until now we learned that you have to light the candles after Shkia. Now we're going to light the candles before Shkia because we have to be able to light the Shabbat candles. So it's fine to light the candles on Erev Shabbat. I'm talking about the candles of Chanukah. It's fine to light the candles of Chanukah on Erev Shabbat. Erev Shabbat means Friday afternoon, before Shkia, as long as it's after what's called Plaga Mincha, which means right before, as close as possible to Shkia. So during the week we light the candles after Shkia. Shkia is sundown. On Friday you have to light it before, and you have to light it before lighting the Shabbat candle. Next, מתפללים מנחה תחילה. It's best to pray mincha before. If you don't have the habit on Friday to pray mincha regardless, you should incorporate that. I mean, a man has to pray mincha, but women, they're not obligated in any prayer that is time-bound, but they're obligated to do at least one prayer a day. You choose if you want to do shacharit, mincha, or arvit.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that we were only obligated to do one. No, I mean, it's good to do more, but it's...
No, you're obligated to do at least one a day. You're not obligated in which one you're doing, and you're not time-bound. So you can choose, you do mincha. If it's hard for you, it's best if you can to do shacharit. That's the best one. And if you want, if you have the priority, then you'll find the time. But assuming that you have 17 kids and 3 businesses to run, and you don't have time to pray shacharit, then you pray either mincha or arvit. But a person, especially a woman that understands the importance of praying, then makes time to find at least one time a day to pray. And if shacharit, the morning prayer, is too hard for you, then do the afternoon, do mincha or arvit. And the time is not that important, but you're still obligated to do one prayer a day. So on Friday, if you must not do one of the prayers, then at least concentrate and do mincha before you light the candles. You make yourself a habit that half an hour before candle lighting you're already ready, the food is done, the chunt is on the blech, and you take a shower and you get dressed and then you pray mincha. And you ask your husband to either take care of the kids or you do whatever arrangement that you need to do, that you have 10 minutes to pray mincha before you light your candles, and then you light candles. And this is a very, very good thing to do. I understand that in most cases that it's hard to do that, and usually before Shabbat is hectic and everybody's running till the last minute. But if you want to do it the right way, then you make sure that you wake up half an hour before and you finish the food half an hour before, so you can take a nice calm shower, get dressed in your Shabbos clothes, pray mincha, and then light candles after you pray mincha. That's a very good custom. So we do the same thing also on Chanukah. You pray mincha first. ואם רואה שנותר זמן קצר עד לכניסת השבת, if you see that it's very already close to Shabbat, ידליק הנרות תחילה, first you light the candles, ואחר כך יתפלל מנחה. If you see that you didn't make it, and you can't light the candles on time if you pray mincha, then first light the candles of the Chanukah, then light the candles of Shabbos, and then you can pray mincha next to the candles. But it's really a very good recommendation to start doing mincha right before you light candles every Shabbat. It's a very, very good habit to do. Next, כיוון שמדליקים כה מוקדם, since we're lighting so early, יש לדאוג מראש למידה מספקת של שמן. Usually, we need enough time, whether it's wax or oil, for it to light half an hour. For the question that you asked before, then you want to make sure that it's lighting another half an hour after Tzit HaKochavim, after the stars go out. So that already makes it 50 minutes, especially if you're lighting from the time of Shkia, of sundown. So during the week, you want to make sure that you have enough oil or a big enough candle that the candles will light for 50 minutes. Because a lot of people light with the candles, with wax. Now the basic ones, what they sell in most of the stores, these skinny ones that have colors, they light for about 8 minutes, if you're lucky. So they're not good candles for Chanukah. It's good for the kids, and it's good for decoration and stuff like that. But really, if you are lighting with candles, with wax, there has to be these thick candles and tall, that it would burn for at least 50 minutes. Beeswax, exactly.
There is one for half an hour, not, and there is a big one that for short.
So yes, so you want to use the ones that lights for more. Now, since on Friday you light much earlier, then you want to make sure that you have enough oil or enough wax that it would light that extra 20 minutes to half an hour, depending how early you lit. So really on Friday when you light candles, which in this year will be the last candle of Chanukah, next Friday, you want to make sure that you have enough oil that it would light at least an hour and 10 minutes, or depending how close you light to Shabbat. But that's extremely important. Next, לאחר הדלקת נרות שבת אסור לטלטל ולהזיז את המנורה. This is extremely important to know that after you light the candles on Shabbat, the candles are muktzeh. Hold on for a second. Where's the, look over there for the keys. I know. Sorry for the interruption. There's nobody there. Just use the key to open it. The handle is broken and the guy's only coming next week to fix it. So sorry for the interruption. This is very important because a lot of people do the mistake with that. On Friday, when you light the Chanukah, once Shabbat comes in, the Chanukah and the candles are muktzeh. You're not allowed to move it. Both the Chanukah and the candles. So if you position your Chanukah in a certain place, you have to make sure that it's going to be in a safe place and it's not going to bother you throughout the Shabbat, because you can't move it after that. During the week you put it in a certain place and then after that you can move it. During the week, while the candles are lighting in the half an hour that they need to be lit, you're not allowed to move the menorah. After the half an hour passes, you're allowed to move the menorah, the Chanukah, assuming that you do it very safe, because once you start moving the menorah, the candles will probably, most likely, will fall. And if you're using these cups of oil, then they can fall. That's already becoming a hazard. But in regards to halacha, in the beginning of when the first half an hour, when they're lighting, then you can move it. After that, you can move it. On Shabbat, once Shabbat comes in, the Chanukah and the candles are muktzeh, and you're not allowed to move it. So you have to prepare it the right way before Shabbat. And you have to keep it in the same place ad till Motzei Shabbat, after Shabbat leaves. במובן שאסור לחזור ולהדליק את הנרות, and of course it's pretty obvious that if the candle turns out, you're not allowed to relight it. During the week, if the candle, suddenly one of the candles turns out, you're allowed to light it. You just do it without a blessing, and you want to do it with a shamash or with a match, and not from another candle of the Chanukah. We learned last shiur that you're not allowed to light any other candle or the shamash from a Chanukah candle. You're not allowed to do that. Once you lit the Chanukah candles, you're not allowed to use that light to light something else. So if one of the candles turn out during the time that the Chanukah is lighting, you're allowed to relight the candle. You just do it without a blessing, and you do it with a shamash or with a match. On Shabbat, needless to say that you're not allowed to light a candle after it turned out. Some people might think that since you're allowed to light it during the week, then maybe chas v'shalom on Shabbos, once Shabbat hits, then you're not allowed to light it, and you're going to have one less candle. ומובן שאסור לחזור להדליק את הנרות אם קבעו לפני זמנם משום חילול שבת. Of course, if it happens between the time that you can still light, you can light it. But once Shabbat comes in, you're not allowed to light the candle again. Chas v'shalom, not to desecrate Shabbat. במוצאי שבת מדליקים נרות חנוכה בבית הכנסת לפני ההבדלה. Now the first light, the first candle of Hanukkah this year is going to be מוצאי שבת. We have the custom that we light the menorah in the shul before we light it in the home, and we do that in the shul before Havdalah, because we do Havdalah in the shul. So you light the candles and then you do Havdalah. This is a custom. Some people don't do that. At home, what you do is first you do Havdalah. בבית מבדילים תחילה. First you do Havdalah. מדליקים נר חנוכה ואחר כך אומרים וייתן לך. So first we do Havdalah. That's what we're going to do this מוצאי Shabbat. Then we light the candles. But for the ones who have the custom of reading וייתן לך, the certain prayer that we do after Havdalah, then you do that after lighting the menorah. You have a question?
Why?
Why you do that?
Why do you do vayiten lecha after you light the menorah?
Because you can't delay the candle. You can't delay the candle lighting even more than what we're already delaying it. Now, this is one thing that we start doing also on Chanukah, and this is what's called Hanissim and Hallel. We have to, besides lighting the candles, which is the first mitzvah that we do on Chanukah, is lighting the menorah, and everybody is obligated, women too. We also add another mitzvah on Chanukah, and this is called Hallel. That we add a certain part to our prayer, and we add it to the 8 days. And another thing that we do is when we pray, including women, we add another part in the prayer that is called Hanissim. We add it when we do Tfilat Shmona Esrei, whether we pray the morning, afternoon, or evening, Shacharit, Mincha, and Arvit, and we add it when we say Birkat HaMazon, when we bench. So we're going to go through these laws now. כל שמונת ימי חנוכה אומרים ועל הניסים בתפילה ובברכת המזון. All 8 days of Hanukkah, that this year is going to be from Motzei Shabbat till the next Motzei Shabbat, when we pray Tfilat Shmona Esrei, and when we say Birkat HaMazon, benching, we add a part that is called ועל הניסים. בברכת הודאה מודים לפני ועל כולם. This goes in the part of the prayer that it's called modim. In Shmona Esrei, then you do it in the part when we say modim אנחנו לך. In benching, it's always best to read out of a book, not to do it off by heart, but it's in the part when we're saying modim, in the part of הודאה. בברכת המזון לפני הלכל. In ברכת המזון, there's a part that we say ועל הכל, so we add in that ועל הניסים. Don't try to memorize that, it's just better to read out of a siddur, out of a prayer book, and you know the part when you add it. But it's extremely important that you add that. שכח לומר ועל הניסים, what happens if you forgot? I mean, you were in a rush to eat the donut, and you forgot to say על הניסים. Or you prayed and you're not used to it. Your mind was on a different thing, so you forgot to say על הניסים. שכח לומר ועל הניסים בתפילה ונזכר. This is in the prayer. Suddenly he remembered. ונזכר לפני שאמר את השם בברכת הטוב שמך, and he remembered right before he said Hashem's name in the ברכה, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות. Then חוזר ומתחיל ועל הניסים. You go back and you start again ועל הניסים. And if you're not familiar with what I'm saying, the best thing to do is open the prayer book and to see what I'm talking about. ועל הניסים is a short paragraph that we add, and if a person did not say Hashem's name, you can go back and you add ועל הניסים. אבל אם לא נזכר עד לאחר שמר את השם, גומר את הברכה ואינו חוזר. If you remembered after already, you already finished the bracha, you already moved to sim shalom, and this is in Shmona Esrei, then you can't go back and you don't say it again. You don't repeat it. אין מדלג ועל הניסים, you're not allowed to skip it, כדי שיוכל לגמור תפילתו ולענות קדושה או מודים עם הקהל. This is more connected to men, that when a man prays in a minyan, and sometimes when he prays slow, he wants to speed it up because he wants to be able to answer amen and kedusha and all the amens of the repetition. So a lot of times this is not has to do with women. A man will speed up his prayer to be able to catch the minyan. So this halacha is saying that you're not allowed to skip V'al Hanissim in order to finish your halacha, your prayer fast, so you can be with the minyan. Even though the part of V'al Hanissim is not holding you back, I mean, if you didn't say V'al Hanissim, like I just said now, you forgot about it, it doesn't mean that you have to do the prayer again. You're good with your prayer, and you don't have to repeat it. So either way, also for women, you're not allowed to skip V'al Hanissim deliberately in order to speed up. If you hear the baby crying in the background or somebody knocking on the door, don't speed up the prayer and skip V'al Hanissim. Shochach lamar V'al Hanissim bebirkat hamazon. What happens when in benching? What we read up to now, that's in regards to praying Shmona Esrei. In Shacharit, Mincha, and Arvit. What happens if you forgot to say it in benching? ונזכר לפני שאמר השם בברכת על הארץ ועל המזון, there's a prayer, the blessing that we finish, על הארץ ועל המזון. If you did not say this part, חוזר ומתחיל על הניסים. You go back and you continue and you say ועל הניסים. אך אם נזכר לאחר שאמר את השם, if you remembered after you said השם, השמ's name, ברוך אתה השם, על הארץ ועל המזון, that's what we say, then כשמגיע לרחמן, when it comes to the part when we start saying הרחמן, there's a few prayers of הרחמן, then you add in there הרחמן הוא יעשה לנו ניסים כמו שעשה לאבותינו, and there's a part that you add. I'm not going to read it, there's no point to that. All the sidurim, at least I would think that most of them, and the most that I saw, they have in it a little box that they said if you forgot to say it in the beginning, now it's the time, the opportunity to say that. The point is that we want to concentrate on not forgetting. We want to make sure that we're concentrated before benching to know, wait a minute, I have to add Al Hanissim, let me not forget it. I don't want to forget it. So try not to, but if you already did, most of the Sidurim, they have already a box in the place where you can add it in, and there's one sentence that you add, and you're good to go. What happens that you, on Shabbat Hanukkah, we always have at least one Shabbat that we have Chanukah. What happens in benching that I said V'al Hanissim, but I forgot to say the part that we had on Shabbat, Retzeh v'achalitzeno. What happens if I did that? I did V'al Hanissim, but I forgot Retzeh. צריך לברך שנית ברכת המזון. You have to say again the entire ברכת המזון. כדי שיאמר רצה, in order for him to say the part of רצה, of the part of Shabbat, אבל אינו צריך לחזור שנית ועל הניסים. If happens that I said ברכת המזון, I benched, I said ועל הניסים, but I was so excited from the prayer that I forgot to add the part of Shabbat that is called רצה ואחליצנו, then I have to say the entire benching again. This time I'm not obligated in saying V'al Hanissim again, because I already said it before. You follow? The thing is that it's extremely important because on Shabbat, a lot of people, as it is, forget to say Retzeh. That's why a lot of people, what they do is they buy a bencher just for Shabbat, because it's in the text, and then you can't skip it. Because it's not in small letters, and it's not in a frame, and it's not bolded. But extremely important that on Shabbat of Chanukah, you want to make sure that you're saying both V'al Hanissim and Retzeh. I didn't check in the calendar this year. Sometimes we're lucky and we have Shabbat of Rosh Chodesh on Chanukah. And then you're saying the full benching, but like you never say before. Because you say V'al Hanissim, you say Retzeh, and you say Ya'aleh V'yavo. And that happens every now and then. That Rosh Chodesh falls on Shabbat, on Chanukah, and you get to read the entire Birkat HaMazon. I didn't check the calendar this year. I don't know if it falls on Rosh Chodesh. Next, כל 8 ימי חנוכה אומרים בשחרית הלל שלם. In all 8 days of Chanukah, we say in Shacharit the full Hallel, which means that there are two types of Hallel. There's Chatzi Hallel, half of Hallel, and a Hallel Shalem. Hallel Shalem we say on Yamim Tovim. On Rosh Chodesh we say half of Hallel. On Chanukah you say the full Hallel. So if you don't pray Shacharit the entire year, you should try to make an effort that this Chanukah, at least on Chanukah, you find the time to pray the entire prayer of Shacharit, and you add in it the prayer of Hallel. What happens if you don't say Shacharit? If you don't say Shacharit, then you can still say Hallel by itself, just at least to get the mitzvah of reading the Hallel, and you say it with a bracha. So you want to try to say 8 days Shacharit to find the time.
Do we say Musa?
Excuse me?
Musa?
Of course you have to do that too, but now we're talking about Hallel. I mean, if you're praying Shacharit, then it's one thing. But if you don't pray Shacharit and you just want to say Hallel, then you can do that without saying Shacharit. Next, very important, and this is what most people like, בימי חנוכה אין אומרים תחנון. We don't have תחנון on Chanukah. Everybody's always like, is this תחנון? Is it תחנון? So, Chanukah, you don't say תחנון, and you don't say כל ערך אפיים, you don't say למנצח יענך, ותפילה לדוד. All the things that most people don't like saying during the prayers. Yeah, you don't have תחנון on Chanukah. So the parts, of course, it's different between the different nosachim, but we don't say תחנון. We don't say כל ערך אפיים, which is vidui. We don't say למנצח יענך, and we don't say תפילה לדוד. These are different parts in the prayer that are considered תחנון, that we skip that on the days of Chanukah. וגם במנחה ערב חנוכה אין אומרים תחנון. Usually when Chanukah falls the first night of Chanukah during the week, then that mincha we also don't say תחנון. This year is going to be ערב Shabbat, so anyways we don't say תחנון. בשבת חנוכה אין אומרים אב הרחמן וצדקתך צדק. On Shabbat, when Chanukah falls on Shabbat, we always have at least one Shabbat that has Chanukah. Then we don't say Av HaRachamim, that's at the end of Shacharit, and we don't say V'tzidkatcha Tzedek, that's in Mincha. So we consider the day that we don't have say Tachanun, and that's corresponding to Shabbat. Next, we read out of the Torah on Shabbat. If you don't get the option of going to shul during the week, and if you don't get to do it on Shabbat, then you want to try to do it on Shabbat. It's a very, very special thing to make sure that you come to shul on Shabbat, but assuming that you have, like I said before, 17 kids and you can't get out of the house, then it's fine. But even a woman, especially that lives in such a holy city, and there's a shul within a reach of walking, should definitely make an effort to come to the synagogue, to come to shul on Shabbat, and enjoy the power of the minyan, and hear the Torah, and hear the reading out of the Torah. So that's very, very highly recommended, even for women. On Chanukah, we also read the Torah every day. So again, you want to make an effort to go to a shul, and has a women's section, and at least hear the reading of the portion. בכל יום ימי חנוכה קוראים בתורה 3 קרואים בקורבנות הנשיאים. We read 3 aliyot, and we read from the korbanot, from the sacrifices of the nesiim. This is, we explained in the first class, one of the reasons why we also call it Chanukah. We said that one reason we call the holiday Chanukah is because if you break the word Chanukah, it's Chanu, Chet Nun Vav, and then Kaf Hey. And that's when the war stopped. The war stopped on Kaf Hey of Kislev. So it says Chanu, they parked, they stopped the war on the day of Kaf Hey. So it's Chanukah. But exactly the time, that's when they did the inauguration of the Mikdash. It's called Chanukah HaMizbeach, when they celebrated the first time that they had the altar and the sacrifices, and it's called Chanukah HaMizbeach. And that's the time when it happened. So the portion we read out of the Torah is the portion of what the Nesiim, the presidents, came with their offerings. That's what we read. This is from Parashat Naso. So the first day of Chanukah, ביום הראשון מתחילים לכהן, מן ויהי ביום כלות משה, עד לחנוכת המזבח, ללוי קוראים ויהי ערב. Anyways, it's going through, I'm not going to repeat it, it's not so important, especially not for you. What we're reading out of the Torah, what we want to learn from that is that you want to try to make an effort to go to a minyan and hear the reading of the Torah. Any opportunity you have to hear the Torah, to see the Torah, to be present when the Torah is out of its ark, you want to make an effort to do that. Same way that if a big VIP or a big official or your favorite singer would come to town, you would make an effort to go and see it. So much more so when the Torah is being taken out of the ark, you want to make an effort to come and see it. Needless to say, the effect that it does to your soul, just to be standing next to the Torah. Doesn't matter if there's a mechitza, if you're in the women's section, it doesn't matter. But just being next to the Torah, that in itself is a very powerful thing that affects our neshama. Needless to say, if you can just touch it and give it a kiss, and so much more so when it's unveiled, it's removed from its cover, and you can hear it. What it does to the neshama is like going to a concert and hearing a beautiful concert that soothes your ear and calms you down. This is 10 times, if not 100 times more, when you hear the words of the Torah read in a synagogue. So you should definitely make an effort in those 8 days, and bichlal, any day that the Torah is being pulled out of the ark, it's a very auspicious time. If you notice, we read out of the Torah on Monday, Thursday, and Shabbat. Then the pshat, the simple explanation why we do that, is because we want to make sure that the ones who are very far away, they couldn't get to a minyan, that there's at least one time a week that they can hear the Torah. But one of the reasons why we read on Monday and on Thursday, because on Mondays when Moshe Rabbeinu went up on the mountain, and Thursdays when he came down from the mountain. I'm not talking about when the second time when he came down on Yom Kippur, because that was Shabbat. But the first time he went up on a Monday and he came back down on a Thursday. That's why we read the Torah on Mondays and Thursdays. So any time that the Torah is being taken out and read, it's a very auspicious time, and you want to make sure, if you can, to make an effort to go and listen. So much more so on Chanukah, when it's a very auspicious time, like we mentioned in the class before. Then if you can, make an effort to walk to a shul, find out when they're praying, make a calculation, half an hour after they started, that's when they read out of the Torah. Go there for 10 minutes, look at the Torah, listen to it, say amen to all the brachot, and this is like winning the lottery. בשבת חנוכה מוציאים שני ספרי תורה. On Shabbat we take out 2 books of Torah, which just makes it a double reason why on Shabbat Chanukah to make sure you go into a shul. בראשון קוראים בפרשת השבוע, the first one we're reading of the weekly parsha. בשני קוראים ליחד במפטיר, the second one we read the maftir, which is the sacrifices of the Nasi, of the same day of course. And we read the Havdalah of the Navi, Rani v'Simchi. And אם חלו בשבת, בחנוכה, 2 שבתות, מפטירים בשבת השנייה ויסחרם. It's just talking about what happens in a situation that you fall on a second time of Shabbat. Then you read a different Haftarah. This is again less important for you now to know it. This is up to the Gabai of the shul. You just need to go to the shul and listen. That's what's important. We're going to skip a few more things because it's less important. It's about more pertaining to men. I want to read a few more things that we do on Chanukah, so we can squeeze that in the class. Just לספר לבני ביתו בחנוכה על הניסים שעשה השם יתברך לאבותינו בימים האלו. It's a very big mitzvah to advertise and to publicize the miracle of what Hashem did to us at the time of Chanukah, to say it to the family members. So at any opportunity you have, whether it's next to the candles or later on you have kids, family members that are not religious, you want to make sure that you invite them to Chanukah parties, you want to make sure you're inviting them to the candle lighting. If it's young kids, you want to share with them the story. It's a very big mitzvah. This is called Pirsum Anisa, advertising the miracle. You want to advertise as much as you can the miracle of Chanukah to your family members. There is a custom, a minhag, noagim le'echol ma'achalei chalav ve'gvina b'Chanukah. We have a custom to eat all sorts of dairy products and cheese products in Chanukah to commemorate the miracle that was done with a cheese dish. And as you know, the story is that Yehudit, she was the daughter of Yochanan, the priest, and she went to one of the generals of the army and she was feeding him delicious cheeses, and then he was thirsty because of the cheeses. She gave him a lot of wine, he became drunk. fell asleep, and then she chopped his head off. So she was a very brave woman. That's why Chanukah has a very special connection to women. We mentioned in the class before that women should make sure that they're not working at the time, before lighting the candles, about 20 minutes, during when the candles are lighting, not to work, to make sure that you concentrate on what you need to do. So there's a minhag, it's a custom, it's not an obligation, but a lot of people, they will eat all sorts of dishes that has cheese in it, whether burekas with cheese, or cake, or blin cheese, or whatever it is that has cheese in it. This is just a custom, it's nothing that you must do. נהגו נשים שלא לעשות מלאכה בעוד שנרות חנוכה דלוקים. Again, like I just mentioned before, while the candles are lighting, you should try not to do any type of labor. And again, this is not a prohibition, you just want to make sure that you're taking advantage of that time. And you're not going at that specific time to do the dishes, or to do a washing machine, or to clean the floor, or anything else. Now is the time that you unite with the candles. We also have a minhag that we give the kids what's called Dmei Chanukah geld, and you can give it even to your kids, even if you're 70 and your kid is 40, it's still your kid. It's a minhag. It's not something that you must do. You don't have to go and get loans and start going out of your way to start giving money to everybody. It's just a minhag. It's a nice thing to do, and you should try to do that also. It's also, we have the minhag of playing with the dreidel, and I mean you don't have to do that, but you can definitely give it to the kids to do it. And the point is to remember from the time of the playing is to arouse the curiosity of the kids. Why we're just playing with this weird device is to remind them about the miracles that we did. It's all about remembering the miracles that Hashem did from us. And it says in the holy books, כי יש להיזהר מלשחק בקלפים בחנוכה או בכל זמן אחר. This is something very, very special that a lot of people kind of skip. Any type of card games, gin, remi, poker, whatever it is, I don't know all the names, all the mikubalim were always very against cards. And they say that there's a lot of impurity in the cards. Even on weekdays. That's why casino has a very powerful klipa, and it's able to draw somebody in it. In the cards there's a very strong power of impurity that there are sages of Kabbalah and Chassidut, they even prohibited to have it even in your home. There's a very strong impurity in it.
Is this because people can tell future from it?
It's not only, also yes, but it has a more depth explanation. I actually wanted to teach it on Motzei Shabbat, and we're going to record it so the viewers can see too, because on Motzei Shabbat when we light the candles, we're going to go through all sorts of like really concentrated and mystical things about Chanukah. We'll do also on Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday a little bit, but we'll talk more about the cards. But there's a very strong impurity in the cards. Like you said, people can tell future from that. They used to do all sorts of witchcrafts with these cards. Now it seems very innocent, and you just play a game. In olden days, when witchcraft was in power, and all this type of idol worship and controlling powers of impurity was done through these cards. That's why it has a power, with all the joker and the ace and the king. It's not a innocent game, let's put it this way. Yes?
It's cards, it's not other board games.
No, not board games. I'm talking about cards, the actual cards that Baruch Hashem I don't have any knowledge in, so I don't remember all the names of it. I just know that there's a joker, there's an ace, there's a queen, a king, and a jack, a prince, and then some numbers. I think from 6 to 7. I'm not remembering. Baruch Hashem, I don't want to also. But again, Chachmei Kabbalah, the sages of Kabbalah and Chassidut, they explain that it has a very strong power in it. There's a book from Levi Yitzchak from Berdichev, who was the student of the Magid from Mazrij. It's called Kedushat Levi Yitzchak, and he explains in it, in depth, the power of impurity in it. And it's actually considered mamash like a very strong sin to do all the Gilui Atidot, how do you, like fortune telling in it, and each card has a very powerful impurity in it. Mamash, it's very powerful. There's a lot of commentary on it, but anyways, any day you should try not to do anything with these cards, and again, try not to even have it in your home. But so much more so not to do it on Chanukah, because there are 36 candles. We talked about the 36 hours of the Or Ganuz, the light that is shining. And again, I'm not so knowledgeable about cards, but I believe there are 36 cards in a pack. Am I right? We have, excuse me? 52? Okay, so I don't remember where I read something about the quantity of the cards. But anyways, dafka on Chanukah, if chas v'shalom you do play during the year, or you have them in your home, then Chanukah make sure that you're not even touching them. I remember a very long time ago that I went somewhere, and we stayed in somebody's house, and the person that was with me, he, in a very weird way, was opening cabinets. And I was like, in my mind, like, what is this? Why is he doing that? And then he found a packet of cards, and he wrapped it up, and he took it outside. And when I asked him, he's like, everywhere that I go, I would look to see if there's cards and put it out of the house. There's a lot of impurity in it. So, since it's a very interesting topic, maybe we should learn. We'll do a class once about what the teachings of Kabbalah explains. What's the impurity in it? I don't know if he had a sense to feel that there's cards in the house. I think he just, out of a nature, was looking to see if this is in the house. So I don't think he has a special sense. It was weird to me that I was opening cabinets and... Excuse me? Yeah. No, we stayed to sleep there. Somebody invited us to sleep there. Could be that he knew the balabait, the owner, and knew that he plays cards, that he wanted it out of the house when he sleeps there. I don't know. It was something that I observed, and I found interest. And later on, I found out that there's very strong impurity in the cards. But Bezrat Hashem will do a class about that. So, since on Chanukah a lot of people have free time and they sit around the candles, so some play board games, even though it's much better to do more important things. But if chas v'shalom you have the custom to do that, then cards definitely get that out of the system of doing that on Chanukah. Next, נוהגים להרבות בצדקה בימי החנוכה. It's very auspicious time to give much more charity than usual. שכן ימים אלו מסוגלים לתקן פגמי נפשו על ידי מתן צדקה. This is a very auspicious time to fix the damages on my soul, then so much more so I can do that by giving charity. Exactly. Well, Meiser is a different thing. Meiser you have to give regardless to the season of the holiday. That's, you give 10% of what you earn. But it's extremely important that every day you give some charity. Doesn't matter if it's $1 or 10 cents or a quarter or 10 agorot, or it doesn't matter where the currency where you live. Even if you give the most smallest coin out there. I mean, if you're in America, don't give a cent. Give a dime, a quarter, something small, not to break your bank. You live in Israel, give a shekel, give half a shekel. But it's extremely important that every day you do the action of giving charity. It's actually recommended to do it 3 times a day, that you give the coin. And again, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It's the action. So it's important to have a pushka, a charity box in your home, and you try 3 times a day to put the charity in, just to have the action of the giving and the understanding and the moment that I'm concentrating on the fact that I'm giving something and I'm giving charity. So Chanukah is at a very auspicious time. This is one of the classes we'll do next week. That unfortunately, when I do unwanted things like sins or prohibitions from the Torah, then I create what's called a blemish on my nefesh, a pgam, a stain. And I need to fix that. And I fix that with tshuva. So on the days of Chanukah, it's a very auspicious time, those 8 days, to fix these pgamim, these damages that are on my nefesh. Sometimes just by sitting next to the candles, and what I said in the previous class about the part that you read in the Tehillim, that does that. Even just connecting myself to this light that shines on Chanukah, it fixes my neshama. We talked about it in previous classes, I don't want to repeat that. But one of the ways of doing that is by giving charity. So if I want to concentrate on these 8 days, it's auspicious and very important to fix these damages, these pgam, these stains on my neshama, by giving extra charity. So if you have a habit of giving a certain amount every day, $1, a shekel, whatever it is, and on Hanukkah you want to triple it. And it's an auspicious time to give extra tzedakah to the right places. One more thing that we're going to continue, very, very, very short, is about adding the part that is called tal u'matar in prayers. Then in the winter, when we pray Shmona Esrei, we add in the bracha what's called Barech Aleinu. We add there's a difference between the summer and the winter. In the summer, we say ten bracha, and in the winter, tal u'matar lebracha. And that depends on the nosach of the Siddur. Each one says it's a little bit different. But in the bracha, in the blessing, what's called Barech Aleinu, we make a little change. So that we do in the winter. Now in Israel, we start saying that on the 7th of Cheshvan, on Zayin Cheshvan. Then we change that already. This is 2 weeks after Sukkot. But outside of Israel, and Baruch Hashem, a lot of our students are not from Israel, then you start saying that 60 days after the period of the month of Tishrei. And this is if you counting it in the non-Jewish calendar, usually will be in the beginning of December. And that we say till Pesach. So you make sure exactly where you are. If you're in Israel, then we already started saying that in Zayin Cheshvan. If you're outside of Israel, you have to look in the calendar when you're saying that. Usually it's announced in the congregations where you are. But in most cases it will be around December, and usually it comes around the time of Chanukah. Usually the Gabbai or the person in the shul will start announcing from today. We start saying the winter version of it. We're not going to go through all the explanations. What happens if you forget and what happens. This we maybe will do another time. We ran out of time for this class at least. But the most important thing to remember and to take from that there are a lot of laws in Chanukah. And if you don't know them, you want to repeat them, you want to memorize them, you want to make sure that you're doing it the right way. Being particular with every little part of the law, of the halacha, makes you do it much better, makes you at least concentrate and focusing on what you need to do. And it's extremely important that we do everything the right way, that we're not going to fall into different mistakes. And if chas v'shalom you're not 100% sure what needs to be done, then you contact your rabbi, your local rabbi, and don't be embarrassed in asking a question. I forgot to do this. This happened. I have to do that. I'm traveling out of town. I'm going to be visiting here. What do I need to do? Because the more particular you are with the small and fine details, the more beautiful that you do the mitzvah. And needless to say that we want to do it in the best way, and especially when it comes to a mitzvah, and shining the world with the light of the mitzvot. B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to wish you a beautiful Shabbat and Chag Sameach. Hopefully we'll see you on Motzei Shabbat, we'll see you on Sunday and Tuesday. But if we don't see you, and at least for the viewers online, you should have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Chanukah, the light of the holidays of light. We should light up the world with the lights of Mashiach. B'ezrat Hashem, we'll have the merit of lighting the menorah in Beit HaMikdash.